Whoa, shiny. Yeah, let's not do that. I'll just go straight to this. Oh yeah, I can do that as well. Okay, let's go to this. Okay, so I've been working on this spaceship. I did want to get it into Substance Painter today, but I've been busy doing some work, so I haven't really had time to do anything on it at all. So I guess I'll just kind of go from where I am, and then we'll see how quickly we can get stuff into Painter. I did do a little bit of work on sorting out this cockpit area, so I think what I'm going to do is try and just do all the Substance Painter prep today, hopefully, and then we'll see if there's time to get just into Substance Painter, maybe slap some materials on. So let's go. Yeah, just say hi as you appear so I can see who's around. I'm just doing some sort of finishing touches to things. And trying to get my head around what I need to do. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't expect that. Yeah. Smoothing grease on, smoothing grease off. Interesting. Let's sort out my layers because there's a lot of crap on that. Let's hide all that. Right, so did sort out this geometry a little bit. We've got some wing sections. There's one. I don't really like this thing, but it was on my original drawing, so I'm just going to give it a go and see if I can get it to feel a bit nicer. Really, it's just a way of getting some sort of interface for this little wing section thing. So let's just bring that down and see if we can get this working. This is a lathe object, which I quite like modelling these cylindrical forms. Let's just try and get this to integrate a bit more nicely. Again, I don't really want to waste a lot of time trying to get this perfect. I want to be sort of assembling ideas. There we go. And then this, that definitely needs smoothing moves on. I think like that. I think probably the thing to do is just get something in there and then maybe go and fuss it later. So what else do we have? We've got something up there, that's a Boolean object. Let's just get that out of the way. I'll move that onto another layer. Hide it. Oh yeah, we got that. So this is like using a shape merge operation to cut a windscreen in. Hey man, good to see you. Yeah, so just be aware that... Right, so I'm going to move this onto a different layer, so get that out of the way. That just leaves wing section. Some engine stuff. This random pod thing. Still not happy about it. Let's just leave it like that. I think if I've got this shape, it's quite bulbous. I need to either emphasize this as a design feature, these kinds of shapes, or I need to get rid of it. So I think what I'm going to try and do is just emphasize it, because otherwise or I have to build this wing into this somehow. So if I emphasize this feature, like there's this thing in jazz where you're improvising, and if you make a mistake, then you do it again. So that's kind of what I'm doing with this right now. I kind of feel like, I don't know if this is going to go well. I think it's possibly a mistake. Well, let's just do it again and see if it works. Just assign a material to it so we get like some... Oh yeah, Simon's sad. That's sad. We're going to use generate mapping coordinates, and we're going to get some shape IDs. There we go. Copy that, and down here I'm just typing 0, just align it to the center. Alright, sweet dude, see you later. So we kind of end up with this fuel tank thing, which is in my original sketch. Kind of like it. It's beginning to feel a bit a UFO. Like UFO is this like really old British TV series, like 70s. Starts out really well and just goes completely like bonkers. I mean in a bad way. Like starts out really well. They do some really cool stuff and then just goes really weird. In a kind of like we've run out of ideas for the script, so we're just gonna go strange. Like I think it ends with the entire planet Earth, time stops on the entire planet Earth because the aliens are travelling at the speed of light, which obviously makes the entire time stop in everywhere because it's just travelling at the speed of light is just impossible. So you've got that kind of design, which I basically think is shit. So I'm going to bin it. So let's just move that into my... Seemed like a good idea at the time there. I think what I need to do is just integrate this wing, because that is probably the nicest option. So I'll integrate this and this together, and then we'll just go to Southern Painting, and then we'll leave it at that. Don't think any complex mechanical stuff is really working. See, the thing is, also the other thing is, if I'm making a picture, I probably just want to render it like this, and then paint shit in here. Thinks. Okay. Right. Let's just integrate it, and then we'll be done, and then we can go on to the next step. So we got some turbo smooth there, like that. Got turbo smooth here, like that. So we need to try and match this edge count somewhat, so we can integrate it. So like turbo smooth, like there, would do the job. Then we can add a edit poly modifier. Oops, missed. Let's just save everything first. Add an edit poly modifier. Attach it. Do not modify materials IDs yet, because they've got the same stuff on it. All that should be material ID 2. Where's it gone? Set material ID. Set material ID 2. And then we can bin some of this stuff. And probably bin that loop. Pick that edge and that edge, and we'll just arbitrarily bridge it to see what happens. Actually, so what I'm looking at is that I actually managed to, because I wasn't really counting properly, so ideally what should happen is exactly what has happened here. So we've got 2 times 4 edges, so 8 edges on this loop, bottom loop, and 8 edges on that loop there, and that means all my edge loops are nicely lined up, and we've got a nice clean interface between my wing and this sort of vertical stabilizer thing. Properties, materialize these. Let's set that to 2. There you go. So I'll just set some smoothing groups. So we've got that is smoothing group, properties, smoothing groups. So that's smoothing group 1. Probably want all this to be smoothing group 1 as well, like that. Smoothing group 1. Then we can turbo smooth it, turbo smooth it again. Get that, which is okay. Let's just make it feel a little more that and add a little supporting loop just here to emphasize that corner. I think that's more like it. So we've got this kind of kink there. See that? Don't really like that. So maybe I'll try and just relax that. Grow the selection. And then we just tidy up, I think, just to kind of get it all meshed up. So, what else is going on? Okay, yeah, that sort of works. Right, don't want to fiddle that little corner too much because it's not a significant part of the shape, but there we've got that kind of integrated without the fussy mechanical stuff that I was going to go and do. What do you think? Yeah. So I guess the only thing I may be feeling is it's a bit thick. Which is a little tricky to solve right now because I want to be able to scale it. So if I scale it like this, it's going to skew it. Which actually isn't so bad. Just trying to match the thickness so it feels like it's kind of in the right ballpark. Yeah, it's a bit annoying. I want to try and keep my edge leaps. So if these edge leaps are curved, like gentle, like all these dots are nicely sort of curving, it means that my mesh will kind of follow the same kind of pattern and curve more nicely as well. So let's just sort out the bottom. Oops, where's everything gone? Shortcuts. There we go, bottom. Oh, it's fussing this too long again. Right, I think that's it. How's that feel? Let's get some. Nearly there. Can you see there's a line across the front of this wing here? And sort of doing that shape, which I don't like. So I'm just going to drag the bottom of this line so that it feels like this is more of a continuous shape down to here. I'm using a lot of shortcuts to try and keep this quick. So if you want to know more about that, then just ask in the chat thread. It's not quite there. So yeah, how are you guys doing? And there's not very many of you. Sorry about last week. Just family stuff. Nothing serious, nothing like COVID disaster or anything like that. Just, this is just the consequences of trying to do childcare and work at the same time. Sometimes doesn't work out. I really want to make sure that I make this consistent, the live stream, because it's clearly important for consistency. If people are trying to like arrange their lives, they don't want them to try and give their time away to some flaky guy on the other end. So I'm really going to do my best to kind of keep this a consistent time, come rain or shine, now that I'm doing it. Right, I think, am I happy with that now? There we go. Right, so now that's a bit nicer. So I wasn't really planning on having this bulbous nose. I was going to be sharp, but I actually quite like it. Sorry, no, I don't mean bulbous nose. I mean this bulbous bum. That shape. So I was originally going to have it sharp like that, but it's making this kind of rounded shape, which feels better. So I think I'm just going to go with it. Just want to quickly see if an edge loop might just control it a little bit more nicely. So let's select by angle. That will give us all this stuff. Whoops. 22 degrees. Somebody once asked me why I do like 22, 33, 44 when I'm doing select by angle, and it's just simply because it's close to the right angle, and I don't have to look at it, and I can just tap the same key twice. So there's no reason why I'm doing like 22 as opposed to 23, except that it's ever so slightly quicker when I'm doing these select by angle things. So let's just inset this a bit like that and have a quick look. Oops. Now see, when you're doing these tests, it's always worth adding another edit polymorpher. What do you think? Off, on. I think it probably doesn't really matter. Let's go with off. It's just slightly softer and nicer. Spin that. Right, so now we've got the mesh in shape. We're gonna make a symmetry mod. We're gonna do that? No, okay, we're gonna cut the windows into place. So I've already made this shape, which I've tested out on the other object. So let's just save a version now. Save as +1. Save version now, then we can do shape merge, create a compound objects, shape merge, pick a shape, this one. which doesn't cut all the way through. Do I care? No, not really. I'm going to modify it anyway, so let's do a symmetry mod on top of that. Whoops, not that way. Not that way. Looks like a guppy fish. That way. Did I misalign stuff? How did I do that? What a muppet. So, look, you can see my axis is off center, so when I build things, that goes in the wrong place. So let's bin that. Go to hierarchy effect pivot. Interesting. I'm not going to care why that's happening. It doesn't feel right. So, snap. Turn on my snaps. Right click. I've got it snap to vertex. I'm just going to disable this while I place this. So now I can drag this, and you can see it snapping into place. And I know that that center line is dead straight. So when I snap that on there, it means my symmetry is in the right place and everything works. Neat trick. So now I've got this edge around here. Let's go and have a look at what it's doing. Edit. Let's go and edit poly here. Edit. Yeah, I'll do it like that. Oh my word, that's not good. Do you see that? Yeah, I made a mistake with that. Let's go back in here. Spin that operation down here, because I made a mistake in here. Turbo smooth. So it's nice to have isoline displays. Isoline display. This one on to preview things, because you get a really fine mesh like that, and it can get a bit noisy, and you want to see all these lines. Now, actually, I think I'm probably just going to turn it off, because I don't need all that mesh detail just yet. No, maybe I do. Let's just turn it on. Let's turn it on again. Turn off isoline display and get all that crazy shit. But yeah, because can you see that I've got tons of mesh density up here. Don't have much mesh density down here, so it's a bit super polygonal. So if I do that, it's kind of getting into the right ballpark. But then I've got all this mesh density up here to deal with, which is just a lot of cleanup. So let's try that. And we'll go edit poly here. These are all the nasty vertices I want to get rid of. All that crap. Oh, one day we won't have to do this by hand. I don't know when that day will be, but I'm going to be very happy about that day. Because it is a drag. Clean up. Backspace to just remove things. Backspace, 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 backspace. I want to keep that one because it's corner. Backspace, 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 backspace. So that's kind of half the mesh. Is there anything overly? What's going on there? It's one vertex. That's good. Let's do a little bit more sorting out. Oh, come on, target weld. P-connect. That's kind of there. Loads of crappy triangles around there. So that's kind of our window shape. Let's add. So when we add our symmetry modifier, it mirrors it. That's all good. Then I add an edit poly here. Edit. So that's my window shape. Because I think that if I open my reference, I'm going to do a lot of triangles and other stuff. So if I show you some reference, yay, here's a lot of spaceships. So we've got all these kind of shapes here, and I think that's kind of cool. So I don't want to have one big long window because I need to divide it up into some interesting shapes, and I have no idea what those shapes are going to be just yet. And I don't think that I want to make that decision, although that is quite nice, in my 3D package because it's going to be quite slow to cut in all those different shapes. I think what I should do is make those decisions in Substance Painter in a paint package. So what I'm going to do is so I want to keep an eye on where that is because I like the placement of it and I like the edges, so I think I'll just make a UV boundary and we'll just slap some stuff in that space in Substance Painter, and we'll do like a some look dev, like a previous to kind of get some ideas of the panel shapes, all the other stuff, but I'm not going to go for final in Substance Painter like this week's. Did I use the default settings for mesh merge? No. What did I do? Let's just have a look. Yeah. So, let's just drag off the shape. We'll just talk about shape merge a little bit. So if I bin all that stuff on top, you'll see what it does. So I should be able to change. So cookie clutter is going to cut a hole, and I can invert it just to keep that section. If I do merge, then it will just keep everything, and then I can build into that. So if let's delete that. So eventually what I'm going to do is this, and now I've got my like outside of my cockpit shape in place. I'm going to build some triangles into place. Like, let's just do one quickly so you can see what I mean. So like here, we can do some cut tool, actually cut from there. Whoops. Come back, cut. So snap to there like that, and maybe something like that. And I don't really want something on the center, so but we can have maybe that. Very randomly placed shapes here. In fact, I can already see I don't like that, so maybe more like that to there, that to there, and I'll stop fussing this because it's not the point. I've already said I'm going to work out what I'm doing somewhere else, so we're going to do that. And then once I've cut my shapes in, then I can select some polys. Kind of like this, and bevel them. To get my window shapes like that. But which I could do here, and I think if I wasn't doing this on light screen, then I might spend the time just to fiddle around with shapes here and get my lines in place. But I think it'll be interesting just to do a bit more experimentation, and so I think we'll probably just take this shape into Substance Painter as quickly as possible now, because we've been on stream for 40 minutes. So let's just have a look at the state of my unwrap. It is a bit of a tangle, so but we do have something to work with. So we've got some edge boundaries to work with. I mean, I could just throw this at the new Substance automatic tool, but I haven't used it yet, and experimenting on live stream just seems like a terrible idea. So let's not do that. If I double click that edge, it goes all the way out there and around again, which I don't really want. My 2-year-old is having a bit of a hissy fit by the sounds of it. Poor thing. Constant negotiations. Eek. So that's selected, and we can split that. In fact, they're all split anyway. Let's just... That's not... So let's split that. Split that. I think my 2-year-old is coming upstairs to have a visit. I can hear some little footsteps. Here she is. Hello. I'm working. Yeah.
What's that?
It's my headphones. That's right.
No.
Bye bye. Oh, she wasn't happy with that. She really wanted to say hello. Oh, I feel guilty. It's like a perennial state of fatherhood. I think is feeling guilty about something. Right. Split it. Alright, let's just split it here. So I've got a lot more material on that. You have to do UV maps and how to sort of sort them out, and it's kind of it's an important subject, but it is also kind of dull. Let's just peel this and see what happens. Woof. What happens if you use the warp tool? Hello. What warp tool? Which warp tool are we talking about? Are we still talking about UVs, or are we talking about something else? Are we talking about the grid warp tool? I guess we're talking in the experimentation. I guess that would be an experimentation thing, so I could stick a grid warp on here. Grid warp, which I never really use because I like to make decisions about it's an FFD box. On the warp tool and the UVs. Do you mean the warp tool? Or do you mean an unwrap? Well, because I could just auto unwrap it. So we've got the reshape at these relax tools, you mean? Or tools. You know, I don't actually know what you mean. Wait, the wrap tool. Wow, okay, yeah. Yeah, tools. You mean some of these auto packing tools? Or mapping tools, like unfold mapping. Yeah, I could just like flatten map it. Should we just do that? Get it out the door, because it's only a test. We get that kind of shit, which is a bit of a mess. So I think because we're almost there, and I still don't really care, I'll just concentrate on splitting off these bits here on the right menu. Yeah, I know this tool quite well, but I don't actually know what you mean. Oh, pelt mapping. Yeah, I mean, in the end, the all once the job the job of unwrapping really is just trying to find where you're going to stick your creases, right? So at the moment I had some creases left over from when I modeled it, but you can see that there's this like interface between my new bit of wing and the old bit of model, which isn't quite cut out very well, and I want to try and find a way just to get it done so that we can stop pissing around with really boring unwrapping and go into Substance Painter, which is a bit more fun. So, and also I'm not going to do it perfectly first time because I really just want to be sort of in creative mode. So once I've cut stuff up, so you can see how this is all folded over itself here, and that's because I hadn't separated out the mesh. But if I just go now, quick peel, now it's all separated out. You can see that it's a lot nicer in terms of UV layout. There's still some folded shit going on here, which is annoying. What's going on there? Where's that? Which is in there. Which I don't really want. So I think probably, and the easiest way probably to fix that is just to target weld this stuff. So just go 1, target weld that to there. 2, just give me a little report where the target weld is. And then here the folded thing as well. Target weld that. And then I can quickly just do the automatic pelt map again, just to spread everything out evenly. And now you can see that because I've welded that, the relaxation tool, yeah, that's it. Just need to stitch that edge. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I think that's right. Anyway, I think there's a bit of time delay here, so that's all done. And then I can go in here, pack normalize, try and like get it all sorted out so it's vaguely okay. So there we go. I think the other thing I could do is probably go in here to, why am I on zoom mode? I'm sort of stuck on zoom mode. There we go. Right. Stitch that edge together using this stitch custom, and then stitch this edge together here. So double selecting to select the whole edge, and then stitch custom again. That's all folded over to get itself, and then I can pelt map it again, and now it's all sorted out. Pack it, and we're kind of in the right ballpark. And I think that's enough just to get us over the Substance Painter. If I wanted to make it bigger, I could probably actually just strip these bits off now. Let's just quickly do it. Because 2, double click that, break it, 2, 2, double click that, break it, pack normalize again. I've got a lot more space. That obviously didn't come off. Two, three, four. Yeah. Must have missed the button. Break that. I think you mean this. That. Unfold strip from loop. Spline mapping. Yeah, I mean the unfold strip from loop is for cylinders. And that's not really, I don't think that's really going to do it on this shape. And I'm so nearly there now that I think I'm going to just leave it with this method. So I find that that's not so reliable, that tool. So now we've got that. I want to get this. So I'm trying to get my center lines aligned. In order to do that, I'm going to pick a midline like that one and use that tool align to edge. I'm just relaxing it now to try and even it all out, and hopefully that center line will be a bit more straight. If you can whack the amount up and it'll accelerate things a bit. Stop, relax. So let's find that center edge again. That one. And that's all straight now. And then, oh, that's a bit of a head melting. That one? Yeah, cool. So that's kind of twisted, can you see that? So again, I'll select the element and just try and relax it, but it's quite... So I'm using the relax custom tools. Whack the amount up just a bit to try and get it to solve a bit more quickly. Yeah, that's not working as advertised, doesn't really matter. I'm just going to line it up by eye. And the reason I want to do this is because I'm just going to do stuff quickly in Substance Painter that's we're already running out of time. How are people doing, right? Are we going to stick it out for a bit longer while I try and get this in Substance Painter, or shall we leave it and do it at some other time? There's only 5 of you. It's not a huge number. Didn't mean to do like a live stream on UV mapping. If I'd actually been doing a live stream on UV mapping, that would have made it concentrated on it a bit differently. Right, okay, let's leave that. Right, close that. So once I've done all the unwrapping, I generally want to collapse the stack. I do collapse all. Is that a good idea? But because I've got a big history in there, I'm going to clone it and just drag that into my kind of dump safety layer over here. That leaves me with that, collapse all, These guys I'm not going to worry about texturing, they're just going to be there for reference. So let's just close engines. This is going to be a body. I do want to have separate materials on these two things so they come into Substance Painter as separate layers. So I'm going to strip off the materials I have got now and just assign two dummy materials. So assign that to that. So we just got the engine. And this one, I'm going to call it body. Like that. What's your polygon count? Did I just mud my ship? No, I noticed the window. You can see it's all aligned. Ooh, no, it's not aligned. W 0 grid. Right, done. Body, engines. Let's export that. Export selected. Flatfish. Okay, so we can close that now. Let's save it. Close it. So, a quick poll. Has everybody used Substance Painter? Like, missed. I didn't do that. Substance Painter. Get rid of that. Substance Designer. Okay, alright, so that's cool. Substance Designer comes with, well, if you've got the subscription, then it comes with it. And I've been doing like, so it turns a base material. Which isn't working. Okay, right, so let's leave that. In terms of base material, so I've got this metallic base material. So any base material I wire in here will turn into a set of panels. But I've also downloaded some various toys from Substance Source. So let's make a new file. So we're going to open a new project. Let's do 2048 just for speed. I'll select my recent places. Is it in here somewhere? Alright, let's go hunting for it. Spaceships. Flatfish. That's all probably fine. I can't remember what that means. Don't need any of that stuff. Don't want to auto unwrap because we've already done some stuff and I have no idea what that's going to do. So hopefully... so it failed. Invalid scene, mesh engines have no UV coordinates. Arse. So let's open this again. re-export, which I think is probably the adventure of the whole of Substance Painter. Really is like, oh, it failed, re-export. Oh, it failed, re-export. Slightly kidding myself that a simple object would be quick. So fortunately, because this is all somewhat procedural, I'm just gonna slap any old crap on it. Unwrap UVW. We'll just do a cylindrical map. That'll do. Break it like there or something. What a mess. Break it. Create palette map. That'll do. Could go through and sort of that frayed nonsense, but I don't care right now. Go back to here. Re-export. Export selected. Flatfish. Save. Try importing this again. Just in terms of like working with students and things, I have to say that it seems to be consistently the biggest hurdle for students is to work out how to get their model into Substance Painter. Something always goes wrong. And like, because you have to understand like materials, UV mapping, all kinds of stuff, and they do tend to freak at the workload. So here we are in Substance Painter. We've got two texture sets, body, engine. Engine, I'm just going to find something just for reference. So some sort of dark, like metal, which I can mess with, like that. So I've got my engine texture set selected. Let's just drag that into the material layer. And that appears on there. It's not bad. I think I probably just want to try and darken it. Like that kind of colour. That's kind of done. I mean, there should be some like, you know, having looked at reference, you get these kind of heating effects at the end of engines like this, which is quite interesting. So you get these kind of purples and other hues down here. So you get this kind of mottled effect and then a smoother heating effect at the end. But just, it's again, like in terms of what I'm doing, like just concepting the overall shape, it's like that big, so I'm not going to care about that. Then as far as the body's concerned, I'm just going to start getting my materials layers up so that we can sort of establish some colour. So I'm going to make a fill layer. Let's make a couple of fill layers. So this new fill layer, I'm going to make a mask, add a black mask, and I'm going to bring up my polygon fill tool, and I'm going to set it to UV chunk fill. And because I've split all this off at the bottom, this should just work. So I want to grab that bottom UV chunk and autofill it. So let's just make this a colour so we can see what's going on. Go back into the mask. So I'm going to paint a UV chunk into this fill layer using my UV fill tool. Right, so let's just do that. Whoops, missed. There we go. It'd be nice if I could turn off that overlay, but anyway. So you can see that is all now shiny black. That's good. So that's going to be my like heat shield there. And I could already see like I want to go back to make my life easier because I actually want to get oops, like if I go back to my chunk, there's an edge here. It'd be really nice if that UV layer went all the way up to there because it would make my life a lot easier to paint this. But anyway, I'm not going to fuss that right now. Let's get this out. So this like shelf is massive. So you can press tab. A bit like Photoshop now because they've been bought by Photoshop. They're bringing in other stuff. So you can see this is like a crappy polygon count back here, but I'm not going to care. So I want to try and get that UV chunk filled as well with another layer. So let's tab out again, add another fill there, add another right click. You can have a black mask. Go back to my UV chunk tool. Try and just get that. I haven't changed the colour, that was a mistake. Okay, just make it red so I can see where you are. Okay, so that's the back of my ship. And this is the underneath, and then that's the top. Probably I want to separate the wings as well, but I think we're not going to leave it at that moment. So now what I can do is I can go back in here and I can start swapping out materials. So I've got somewhere in here I've got a space shuttle heat shield material. So let's just drag that into my material quality up here. Drop it in. Get these massive heat shield tiles. So there's various things now because I've sorted out my UV mats beforehand. That's all nice and aligned and straight, which is cool. I want it what I want. So just need to go and adjust the tile numbers. So maybe whack this up a bit. Sort of maxing out the number of tiles quite quickly. So I think the next option is just to go in here and whack the scale. Into something sensible, like maybe that. I guess you get a lot of repetition when you mess with the scale, so you have to be careful about some of these shapes. There's a sort of mid-frequency pattern which is quite repetitive. I think what I'm going to do is probably just take that and stick it on the top layer as well. Let's just have it on the base layer. So let's maybe, can I copy that? So I'm just going to duplicate this layer, take that mask, delete the mask, clear the mask, remove the mask, and then I'm going to go into my colour. Got to get that joint colour like darker. Is there a way of turning the text off? Okay, no. So let's make the text colour the same as the tile colour. So let's just click on that and we'll pick that tiny little sliver of stuff there. Right, so that's kind of there. Now, again, what I should probably go and do is like add a strip, probably like a UV strip to make my life really easy. So I think what I'm gonna, so this is all kind of like a learning exercise now. I'm trying to discover what I need to kind of complete the model by kind of going, having a go, and then messing with stuff, and then I'll go out again and have another part pass. But I think what I need is a strip of polygons right along that front edge, so I can adjust the UV coordinates of this tiling texture here, so that I get a nice like buffer along the front of my wing, which feels correct. So if I look at my references, is it? Can we see it in this stuff? No, you can't. I don't have a picture of a wing. But I guess you might be able to see. Can you see how the pattern changes across the front of the wing surface? So we get the leading edge has a particular pattern to it. So I want to emphasize the leading edge. So the reference viewing software is called PureRef. www.pureref.com. It's really cool. I feel like I'm a bit late to the party with PureRef. A lot of concept artists use it. It's really awesome because unlike Photoshop, you've got an infinite canvas and all these images are full res. So if you're gathering reference for something, like that is amazing. So this is from Iron Sky, and I really like this sort of theme. So we actually have a totally different texture on this surface, which I've started in Substance Designer. So this is like a padding. If you go back to the shuttle, it's clearer here. So as I zoom in, you can see I've got all these padded surfaces, and then these are your heat tiles. So I've actually started to design in Substance Designer a padded surface, although we do get white tiles as well. So that's kind of cool. I guess the last thing to do maybe is, and then I'll kill it here because it's gone on a little bit too long, is I want to add a new when I add a new fill layer so you can see what happens. So I have to be careful about what I do. So that's a color layer. So I'm changing the specularity, and it's not overriding everything, it's kind of inheriting. So the default is to inherit bumpiness. Everything. I kind of do everything. Like, I think probably I should do more paint overs. Like, so if I'm going back to here, right, rather than trying to do all the paneling decision by going into Substance Painter and all that malarkey, I should probably like, so example, you know, I'm struggling right all through this session. I've been struggling with. I struggled like for like 20 minutes with that joint. Probably what I should have done is like gone in and done a paint over. So just done a quick render of what I had and done a paint over, made some decisions about how that worked, and then come back into Max. I think that would have been quicker. So I think I sort of, when I do things on a live stream, you're not necessarily getting the real way I work, because I'm trying to skew it to compress the time. So you're getting a kind of a bit of voyage discovery about as I'm kind of learning a bit about what I do and what's quick and what's not quick. So and I don't want to jump around too many different packages and things. So I'm wanted to get into Substance Painter. That was kind of my objective for the live stream, and then things have been slightly skewed because of that. And I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not. So I'm trying to, because people were talking about it last session. So I kind of wanted to honour what I was talking about, but in the end we kind of had a big faff, and then we're in Substance Painter and the live stream's over. So not quite sure. So I think there's a variety of different tools for developing ideas, like pen and paper. So you see I started with a sketch for this design, which I had like 10 years ago. Paint overs, so you do some stuff, you render it, and then you paint over it in Photoshop to develop ideas. Or you can take it part way, go into Substance Painter, paint over in here, so you're painting over in 3D rather than 2D, just for which is great for like panel details, right? So if you're painting paneling and you want it to wrap around that surface, Substance Painter is the right place to do that. And then once I've worked out what needs to be a cut and what needs to be a texture, then I'd go back and do the cuts and textures in Max and bring it back into Substance Painter. But like here, well, there's like some structure in here. So I think probably if I wanted a real proper structure in here, I should probably do it in Photoshop or Affinity Painter is what I use. And then make those structural decisions as an illustration, then go into Max and model it. But because I was trying to cram it out for a live stream, I just kind of went with something that felt like it was going to work and it was quick. And in the end, I was sort of happy with it. Do I use triplane? Yeah, the thing about triplanar projection and Substance is that although triplanar projection is a thing to use inside your rendering software. So if you what was I looking at? I'm just going to show you one model which was like really inspired me today. So ArtStation. See if I can quickly find it. So I just picked up on oh come on, tell me there's a way I can get to following. There we go. Don't want to go dead. Alright, is it this guy? Yeah, this. Right, so look at this. This is awesome. I don't really like this stuff at the front. It's a bit too... what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real to have this big spinny disc on here. But like, who cares? Because all this stuff is back at the back of it. It's wicked. This is all done with triplanar mapping. It's all done in Blender. It could equally done in Max as triplanar mapping. But the point about triplanar mapping is you don't go into Substance Painter. So all this kind of fabric stuff, is he modelled that? Because that would be insane. He might have modelled it, which is very insane. That might be cloth sim stuff, or it could be interesting. Let's go and have a look at you some more. There we go. So you could like build up this model without UVs at all. So which is what he's done. He doesn't use UVs at all, and everything's done with triplanar mapping. And he's just doing it to get some kind of surface detail, but I think it's a lot closer. So it's really close up detail. The fine details all done with triplanar mapping, but all this other stuff, the actual creases and that's all modelled, which is crazy. But these decals, like this stuff, I think that's going to be triplanar mapped in place. So that's a method of like taking your thing into Photoshop. So if we go back a step, so you can extract various sections of the model, render it out each angle, and then paint in Photoshop. So you get a 2D, like a plan view of each direction, and paint out in Photoshop what things are going to look like. And if you've got a really madly complicated model like this, like it just like you can end up with crazy UV stuff all over the place, which just is going to take forever. So triplanar mapping for that sense is a really good way to go. But you wouldn't take it into Substance Painter to do stuff then, because there's if you don't have UVs, you saw what happened with my stuff. It doesn't work. You can't take stuff into Substance Painter. So even if you're using triplanar mapping inside Substance Painter, you still have to unwrap it. So all that's going to do inside Substance Painter is going to change the way that these things are projected. So like for example, if I go back down here, so at the moment it's that layout is come from my UV mapping. So I was taking care to kind of align everything. So it's in UV projection mode. If I change it to triplanar mapping, then I can adjust and rotate this box to place my tiles. And so sometimes what I do is I'll do stuff like this to kind of get some interesting lines across the surface. But if I flick over to 2D view, if I zoom in, it still creates a 2D texture. So that is still a 2D texture. It's just that the way that it creates it is with a different method. So if Substance Painter only works with these UV mapped 2D textures. And you can see actually like where it's not a great idea to do triplanar mapping for all surfaces, because you get these crisscross patterns where the two triplanar faces, as it were, crossfade together. So it's great for like continuous, like rough surfaces, but I think for these kind of tiling surfaces I need other strategies to kind of manage it. So it works across here because I've rotated the triplanar mapping to kind of be mostly planar, so it's almost like a planar mapping. And then what I'd probably do is find some cut lines like for like different tiling directions. I've got one tiling direction that's going that way, and then I have another tiling direction that's going that way, and just work through slicing up UV coordinates so I can get my tiling directions in the right place. And I could either do that in Max or I could do it in Substance Painter. Or so triplanar mapping is just projection mapping, so I could do projection mapping in here in Max directly without ever going into Substance Painter, and that's another valid way of kind of developing ideas. But again, I kind of wanted to get Substance Painter because I like it, I suppose. I quite like it. I find it quite creative. Does that make sense? Oh, yeah. So what you're saying is you don't concentrate on making your UV maps look good because you know that Substance will sort it out. Yeah, that's kind of true. So if this is a wreck, that implies it's bad. So if if this UV map was untidy, shall we say, then I'd be it'd be much faster to get out of Max. I could just go blunk, use your automatic wrapping techniques, and I'd be out and gone. And like we'd spend more time in Substance Painter adjusting things and trying to find nice edges on all the other stuff. So you see, because I sorted it out in Max, it was quick in Substance Painter, but like slow in Max. So it's where do you want to burn the time? Do you want to burn it in Max or do you want to burn it in Substance Painter? Do I do the baking process? Yes, I will do the baking process. I just haven't got round to it yet in this live stream. But again, the whether I do it right now, I don't know, because really, what I want to get to in terms of where I am now is just just set this up quickly. So I want that to be a normal. So I'm just flattening out everything that's gone before. Go to my normal map. Normal. So this is an override texture. So that's now overriding everything. I'm going to add a black mask. So that removes it. I want to be in orthographic view. So I want to be in this view, drawing. So I don't want it to modulate the size, I don't want it to modulate the slow. So if I draw a line in here, you see it cuts in like that. So I can use shift to draw in square lines like that. Turn on my mirroring. And now I'm beginning to kind of make some paneling decisions about what to do. And really that's really all I want to do in here is make some design decisions about like what the fuck does this look like. I don't really care about much else. I really just wanted to get it in here so I could draw some lines in, so I could see like I've already drawn the cockpit in already, but I could also make cockpit like view decisions, and to some extent like we're back into kind of sketching design stage. It could be like really messy. Maybe I want to have like other patterns down here. Maybe I want to emphasize some of the action structure, and you see like, oh, we got like some flaps and shit in here which is going to go on. I'm doing this really quickly, and it's like, is this going to be dark? I don't know. Slowly colour it in. Wouldn't quite do it as scribbly as this. I would take more care, but we're almost running out of time. But maybe that structure needs this on here, and that's the kind of decision I want to be making at this point, rather than going for final. So but yes, if I was going for final, then I would go in and I'd bake all the textures and I'd use all the toys that I had, because like world space position pass is useful, the ambient occlusion pass is really useful, and all that other stuff. Alright, so not entirely to plan as a live stream. I hope you guys got something out of it. I will come back to this model, and probably what I should do is like do like a proper design phase in your absence, and so that you can sort of see the result, and then maybe do a little bit of talking about how I got there, and then kind of work a bit at trying to push it towards final. Because I think like basically the shape is pretty much there now. I think I will probably go and have a think about like maybe adding a cut in here or something, because that was my original design. I quite like that. So maybe hide some sort of big joint in there, stick a slice in here and make it feel a bit better. And if I put a slice in there, then I've got a better chance of doing a cut here, so that we actually do get some proper flight control surfaces, because that would make me happy. I won't bother putting flight control surfaces on the back because we don't really have one. The shuttle had this kind of weird flappy heat shield which kind of went in here, and I think I might add that. And can't work out if it's a cargo thing or a passenger thing. So if it's a passenger thing, I should maybe go and add some more windows in here or something, which I think might be quite cool. Anyway, cheers guys, thanks for sticking out, and see you all next week at the same time.